That is impressive, Rob. While we're on COVID-19, one thing I'm realizing is that this pandemic has awakened the world to need of conversational AI in healthcare, and more than ever. I can't take my 2-year-old to doctor's office, but given the advancements in AI, I know I can envision the world where conversational AI, to most extent, if not all of it, can replace the primary care and the family doctor's office. I want to understand, what are your thoughts on conversational AI in healthcare?
Yeah, we have a bunch of insurance companies, healthcare companies, so we're working with them. I ultimately think the way it's going to play out is you have to have your own AI, and this is what I believe. And we're putting something in the market in a few months, not around healthcare yet, but around some other verticals where I think you've got to own. Ultimately, there's got to be your own AI that's yours, and that you trust, and that knows you, and gets to learn you over time by your intents. So the intents you're putting in the system, it gets to know you. And I think that's where we have to go with healthcare, because as we know, healthcare is a very personal thing. My body's different than yours, and my environment's different than yours. And I think it's not a fantasy. It's not some like thing, oh my God, it's true. We can build things that will allow something to understand you, and then make diagnoses, recommend things for you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think this is so far away on basic stuff. Obviously, there's things then you've got to route to a human doctor. But there are things, and I think Google is the worst intent system for medical advice on earth. It's the if you put anything in around, like if I said my hair is a little shiny and near my ear, and you said cancer, it would say, oh, potentially that's cancer. Like, if you ever notice everything on the internet, it's like related to something horrible. Like my you've heard it, my back itches. You've got some weird disease. There's a neck itching disease that can kill you. I mean, I didn't even know this. Every now and then I go, what I wonder if I got itchy neck. It's like, oh, you could have psoriasis, or then 10,000 things that could kill you, and it's terrible. So we need a better way to. This is where conversational AI is about personalizing a conversational experience, because unlike Google it takes in a question, takes in an intent, and then gives you a menu of stuff, because it can't ask you a question back. And what makes conversational AI so powerful is I can put something in, and the machine can say, let me ask you another question to clarify. And you clarify. Let me ask you another one, and it clarify. And that back and forth, that conversation then allows for, I can then understand what you may have, and then I can diagnose you. But not Google search, where it's one shot and you get the world of possibilities of how you could die.
So it's one thing I noticed is, I'm sure you saw it too, World Health Organization. They launched a very super simple version of the chatbot. It was all rules based. I don't think there was any AI there, that asks you a series of questions to see if you have COVID-19, if you need to go to a doctor, and what is the nearest place near you where you can go to get tested, and if there's a need for that. And I went through it just as an exercise to see what they have built. And even given the fact that there was no AI and it was just rules-based engine with a series of questions, I thought it was super beneficial to people. And thinking about it globally, it was, I think, a great thing to do. And so I can't even imagine the possibilities that conversational AI can have once implemented in healthcare.
Yeah, and then obviously there's a lot. I mean, I think if we looked at this specific problem with COVID and how AI could be used, I mean, from contact tracing to symptoms to, I mean, there's a lot of under that as you get a data set. Once you get the data set of how people are asking for these, how they're having these conversations around symptoms or exposure to COVID, there's a lot more you can do with it, than what, like you said, it's pretty much rule based today. I mean, it's a simple set of questions to ask you. Do you have a fever? Do you have a cough? Do you have a sore throat? Have you been exposed? Are you a certain age? So they are going through that like 10 question thing, but you're right. It can be more powerful than that.
Now, taking it back to LivePerson, how do you see your conversational cloud disrupting consumer experience?
The navigating of e-commerce was 15% of commerce or 17% of commerce pre-COVID. Now it's like 27%. So there's been a huge jump. And then anyone who's involved with that will also increase, like we've increased our company, the demand for our services. It's still small, you know, and so I think our greatest impact is coming up, which if I can't go to a store, what is a new way in which I can have a conversation and buy a product or buy a service? And I think that's really, we're forced into this now. Even buying a car, we have 8,000 car dealerships. So we do have automations running on selling cars. There's still a lot of humans involved with that process. But I think because of the crisis, it's our platform is in more demand to change the game, because what I'm seeing is a lot of the companies where there was rules and regulations and you got to have a human there, it got blown up. And they're like, we just got to have these conversations. We don't, even though a human can't be there, because there's always especially in banking, there's a lot of regulations around why a human has to be. I was talking to one of the largest banks, one of our customers in the US 2 days ago. And the guy said to me, I don't see any reason to have a human being taking a phone call. Makes no sense to me. The reason we have to do it, and we have to put out an 800 number today, is because we're regulated. And the regulators say consumers have to be able to call you to ask questions. Mm-hmm. Because that's kind of an old thought. And now with COVID, you can't call somebody because they're in their home. It's not as easy to do. So we now have permission to replace those 800 numbers with messaging front ends and automations. Mm-hmm. And so as long as we do a good job with them, so it's really allowing everyone says, I've heard, don't let a good crisis go to waste. The enterprises are using this, and they're using our platform to understand the intents of their business, build the automations, implement them, and then scale them. And that's really what they're doing with the Conversational Cloud.
Yeah, and I saw what you guys did with Chipotle, the pepper, and David. I love that. And the David's Bridal. Yeah, David's Bridal.
I mean, we got people, David's Bridal. People didn't want to come in, but now they have people are still getting married. So how do they have a conversation with an automation to talk to them, schedule them to get a dress delivered, things like this? And Chipotle, same thing. People don't want to go in and go, let me have the meat, the chicken, stand 2 feet away from 600 people. They don't want that. So they go in, they talk to Pepper, they configure their burrito, and they pick it up at the door. Now, Chipotle's got a pretty decent app, but the problem is a lot of people don't want to download apps. And so we deliver this through all the messaging front ends, through iMessage, through SMS, through Facebook Messenger, through WhatsApp. So you don't have to do anything. You just go in, you converse with Pepper, but you don't have to download an app, start it up, go into it. People just want the convenience of boom, and then go ahead and configure it, the way you want.
Yeah, I get Chipotle twice a week at least, and you have made it super easy for me. So thank you for doing that.
No problem.
You have made Chipotle possible for us. Thank you.